Hi guys, how are you? So it's 7 o'clock and I'm with Mr. Valiente. So we're just about to do a lunging session. So I tried to do a Zoom call with a friend of mine last night, but as you can probably see behind, we have crazy Levante winds. I'm in Cray, so they're really strong. The good thing is COVID-19 will not survive that, so it's a good thing. They're here for a reason. They're like the hurricanes of Florida, you know, they're cleaners, nature's cleaners. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lunge Valiente just like on a normal day. So this is not like a schooling session, this is like a maintenance session, just so you see all the basics that I do, what I build up to. And just to give sort of a few facts, obviously, you don't want to see me, you want to see him. He's a Hispano-Arabi, so they have obviously Arab blood in them. They are front wheel drive, and we have to get them connected to the back end so that they keep this connected with their legs, otherwise they flight. So I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of Arabs running, you know, they become like stags. They have the flight mode. Yes, I know to talk about you. Now, also, because of his start in life, he was started as a 3-year-old and he was started in Dom Vaquera. So what he knows is that when you ride, it's work. So before work, not too much kissy cuddly, otherwise he's almost like a child. He can wind himself around you and then he gets a little bit naughty. So again, because of the Arab side, I want him to connect his body with all 4 feet. Are you listening to this? So that we have him with us. He stays grounded, because otherwise it's very easy to lose him. Now, silly little things, which probably sound daft, but they really make a difference. Sorry, cut out them. He's very food orientated, and what I find is if you work him before feed, he's okay. So obviously I always give hay first. So I work him, I'll feed the others their hay and he's calm. I tie him up. So that's the other thing. When you're getting ready to work him, I always tie him up so he knows he's going to work and then he's calm. If you don't tie him up, he's nervous. You know, he's like, what's going on? But he knows now. I tie him up, that means work. And then we come back in and he gets his hay and that's it. That's his quiet time. Like I said, he's very food orientated, so even with feeding I always tie him up first of all, because otherwise he sort of winds himself around the box, he starts dancing around the box. But again, he knows when he's tied up. The other thing is, because he's Arab, he's very fine skinned, so he's very sensitive to the flies. So I find either very early in the morning or this time of the evening, so 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock onwards. I mean, I have even been working him at 9 when it's been really hot with the flies, because he doesn't like the flies, and they also bite him really badly, so that's something you're going to have to watch in Finland. So what I'm going to lunge him in today is the bridle, you know, my bridle with this Kimberwick bit. Now again, I don't use it because it's a curved bit, I use it because it's a straight bar. So if you see with lunging, the curb is loose, okay? Just hooped up in the reins, and then I bought this lovely roller. It wasn't very expensive, I think that was from Hawks, but it's very fluffy, so he sort of needs this protection. So you'll find that obviously when he's got his winter coat, he's a bit more protective, but when he's fine coated, he rubs a bit. So I like this because it had a lovely soft girth, it's soft here, and then I've just got it over the top of a saddle pad, and I've just got the reins looped through here. So I tend to find, like I said, he's Arab, and he's a very playful horse, and he's a baby, he's a young horse still. So I tend to find that when I put a bit in his mouth, again, go back again, he connects that with work. And he'll go in a cavesson, but when he's in a cavesson, he's sort of looking at stuff and flying around. But again, the bit does just help him connect. It keeps him grounded. So again, it's the work thing in his head. And I think you'll find with all this cowboy work you do, he will think that as work. And I think that's one thing you've got to be very careful with him, because Sometimes he does have a little explosion. We'll see what happens today in the wind. He has been absolutely fine, so, and if I say it, nothing will happen. But I have had to do a lot of work with him, getting him grounded, getting connected with his feet. Rather than held in and dominated, to connect with the feet and use his body correctly. Obviously he's an Arab, he's got a high set neck. He's never going to be a horse. He's never going to be a horse that has his nose right on the ground, and you must make sure that you never do that, because I know in Western they have the head very low, but he's an Arab, and what will happen is he will push up from the front end, he won't use his back correctly, he'll block his hocks, and you'll have issues in later life. So you've got to find that medium balance with him. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go outside. Obviously I'll have my camera on normal video and I'll send you that. And I'm just going to do the basic work. So I always start off, just to get him connected a little bit with his feet, I just do a little bit of flexion work and get him concentrated on me, because again, he wants to see what's going on. That's his natural way. All right, and then what we can do later is I'll send you the video, and maybe we can have a group chat on WhatsApp or something, and I can go through, you can watch the video at the same time as me, and I can tell you what I'm doing, because like I said, it may not like I'm doing anything, but I promise you there's been a lot of work gone into getting Valiente to be more connected, rather than dominated and fixed. And again, if he'd been kept ridden in the way he was with the Doma Vaquera, he would have been very lame on his right hind leg, because he was on the way getting there. You need the teeth clean. Oh my goodness, look at those black teeth. It's because what he does with his food, he does this. He doesn't take it gently, he grabs. But anyway, we're going to go in the school now, and like I said, we'll see what happens. It's very, very windy. And we'll just go from there. Anyway, much love from us. Bye-bye. Hi guys, so we're back in the stable. He was very good. We were a bit windswept, and he's got his hay. Yeah, he's a good boy. So I'm going to send you the two videos. I had to obviously video the videos separately, because you can't keep your finger on there while you're working the horses. And what I'll do is, I said, I'll try and explain afterwards. The most important thing with Valiente is right from the start, you keep this calm. So if he runs off, you've sort of lost him. And that's why you'll see me start him off very, very slow. I want him to connect. Good boy. See, this is great, because normally he's very food orientated, but he's still with me. So that for me is a good session. We have had sessions where we've not quite had the connection. It's taken a little while, and that's when you sort of close the door, let him be for a bit, and then you start again. Because when he's a bit like that, I don't want to fight with him. And the thing is, because he's come from a Spanish macho environment, they would never have let him put a foot wrong. You have to be strict with him. But also, if you come down too heavy on him, which of course, you know, I'm not strong on horses, but one day I was like, hey, and he really took offence. So he's got a big heart, he's got a huge heart, and he wants to work. And that's the great thing about him. He's a working horse. He needs to work. He needs to keep his mind functional. And that's why if I have to go out, for example, and it's not in his routine, he'll tip his water over, he'll destroy his feed bucket, because he's got to be doing something. He was a very good boy today, and so as you see, I start him off very slowly, do a little bit of in hand, and then let him go out, and then what I did at one point is I put the side reins on just for a little bit, just to connect his back legs with his shoulder on the outside, because he's a Hispano-Arabe, he's a little bit croup high, which so I'm sat on the stool here, so I won't move. Which means he's higher behind. So what happens with a horse like that, if you hold them too tight in front, if they're too much on the front end, they just lock the hocks. So instead of flexing the hock, what he's doing is bracing it and leaving it behind him. He's not built to bring the hocks really underneath him. And again, if you do that, you are going to put a lot of pressure on the back. So it's all about compensation, balance with him. But what I want him to do is to step, to flex the hock a little bit. So he's not bracing it, he's bringing it, flexing it straight underneath him, not forwards and underneath him. And then we connect with the brain. When he's in flight mode, he leaves his back legs behind and there is no connection. But, the door's wide open. As long as he's got food, he's fine. He won't move. I've left the door open and done yard work. And as long as he's got hay, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't care. But like I said, I'll send you the videos now. And then we'll somehow try and find a way to watch them together. And then I can explain a bit more. And I think what I've done again is I've gone right back to the basics. So when you take him, when he's in Finland, if you do this, get his confidence, because that was one thing here when he first came, again, because he'd been so dominated, he'd been ridden like a bit like a machine, you know, out work, hose down, in the stable, that's it. When I started to open him up, he was like, ooh, I'm not sure about this. You're not telling me what to do all the time. And so what I've tried to do is to help him to think a bit for himself as well. Whereas Almirante is completely the opposite. You have to work, you have to ask Almirante to get his confidence. You have to say, is it okay if we do this? Okay, let's do this. Whereas he wasn't used to that at the start, and he went a bit vulnerable. But I am pleased what he's doing now, because when he first came, all he would do. Sorry, last one, and then I'll bugger off. What he would do is just bring his haunches to the inside, and because with Dom Vaquera they use that a lot, but again, when they're doing that, they're keeping the back legs straight, they're not flexing the hocks, and this is why so many horses have issues. They hold them in front, block his back, the back legs are behind. So I'm really pleased with this movement, and if you look in the video sort of afterwards, I just put the side reins on for a few minutes, just to say, hey, just come back with me, and then I took them off, and then you'll see it's like, oh yeah, stretch, that's much better, much more comfortable. So anyway, I'll send the videos now and we'll catch up later. Much love from Mr. Handsome and me.